No.
Continuing. All right, we are continuing in Sefer Halikutim, Dach Tzemach Tzedek, in the volume that has the letter Aleph, with Umot, haOlam, the nations of the world, and we on page Tuf Kuf Chaf Gimel, which in numbers would be 523. Second paragraph there, and this is the piece of Tzemach Tzedek is going to make a bunch of references to other discourses, other Maimarim. Perhaps those are Maimarim of his own, or maybe around the Alter Rebbe. And remember, the key word, as we also had, I think it was last time, was the root of the is Resh Vav Hey, which means to be satiated, to be full, or to have your desires met, or whatever. Okay, so let's take it from the beginning. Tav Kuf Chav Gimel. Upeirush lo yoyves lo yachloi. What is the meaning of the verse that Hashem will not desire to forgive him? Ki'im adarabba, rather to the contrary. Mima sheratz, from that which he wanted. Lema'an sfois harava, since the sinner, as the verse says, Lema'an, in order, sfois harava, the satiated, the want, as hatzmeya, in other words, they want the can someone give Shana, Mushka water? So they wanted to drink. They're very desiring. Can you still hear me and see me? Because
yes,
everything went
blank. Everything's good on my end.
Okay, fine. Okay, if there's a problem, just speak up or call me. Fine. Yishulam loy, so he will be paid. Al derech ma shekasu, along the lines of that which is written. And this is a quote, as he says, from the book of Eicha. Okay, so Eicha is what is traditionally studied on Tisha B'Av. It's Lamentations. It's all about the destruction. Very, very harsh, very difficult book. So over there, the verse says, give me a second. The verse says, Hirvani la'ana, Be'echa Gimel Tesvav, chapter 3, verse 15. Hirvani la'ana, that he has satiated me. Some translate this as wormwood. So the whole verse reads that he filled me with bitterness and satisfied me with la'ana, which some say is wormwood. Okay. So there you have the word here, vani, also. Or, as we have another verse in Yeshaya and Isaiah, that it says, 1 second, I had it here.
Oh,
Okay. So then on the second line, he brings another verse. This is from Yeshayahu, Isaiah, chapter 34, and that would be verse 5, where it says, Ki rivsa vashamayim charbi, for my sword has been satiated or satisfied in the heavens. So I think that the point he wants to make with these verses, where we find the root of Reish Vav Hey, Riva or Rava, is that they're being punished. Because La'ana, whether that's wormwood or Charbi, my sword, these are all different types of negative things. Vatam, and what's the reason? So now he's going to bring in a midrash, which is going to explain to us about how it works with the wicked and the righteous, etc. Okay, so he says like this. As it says in Medrash Rabbah, Reish Parshas Breishis, right at the beginning of the Medrash Rabbah, in the beginning of the section on Genesis. So it quotes a pasuk, a verse from the very beginning of the Torah. And the earth, the world was toihu, chaos. Says the Medrash, Elu ma'aseh harishayim. This refers to the deeds of the wicked. That's the Medrash. Now the Tzemach Tzedek explains, Sheshar Sham, because their root of the wicked, Mimashanofal b'shviras hakelim, from that which fell by the smashing of the vessels, Me'olam hatoyu, from the world of chaos, which we've discussed other times, and just very briefly to
sorry, that was my fault.
So just to recap, there's a very, very high world. It's called chaos, because over there is zero tolerance for anything other than oneself, even though it's so holy. And the attribute or the emotion of kindness is only kindness through and through. The attribute or the emotion of severity and strictness is only that, no room for anything else, through and through. And therefore, ultimately, that smashes into little pieces, and those pieces are the sparks of holiness that are trapped in the evil forces called klipa. And then the job is to redeem and elevate those sparks. Okay, now, the reason why the wicked down here are called toihu in this verse is because they in fact do come from this very, very high level called toihu chaos. But then continue back with the medrash on the fourth line. Then afterwards, the verse says, Vayomer Elikim, and Hashem said, Yehi oir, let there be light. So he creates light. Says the midrash, Elu Maisei Tzadikim. This refers to the behavior, the deeds of the righteous. So we have Toihu, which is the deeds of the wicked, and we have Oir, light, which is the deeds of the righteous. Explains at Tzemach Tzedek now. Hainu Olam HaTikun, meaning this is the world of Tikun as versus Toihu, the world of rectification. Shemekablim, that in Tikun, everyone and everything receives al yidei tzimtzum, through contraction, through this filter of a contraction, bechinas yud, and that would be represented by the letter yud, which does not have much form to it, no real length or breadth. It's basically a dot, and that's the yud, which represent condensing and contracting everything. And now he's going to give us a few references, different places to look up. Take a look in that discourse. And then back to the Medrash Rabbah in Breishis. What does it say? Vadayin, and still, and the acronym Aleph Yud, Eini Yoideya, I don't know. Which one does Hashem desire? Which one does he really want? Does he want the deeds of the wicked or the deeds of the righteous? And it will soon explain how in the world could there be a doubt? Why are we even thinking? Why we even have any question? So he explains, Hainu, Meaning, ki bechinas arich anpin, because this idea of arich anpin, which we've explained previously, is the lower level or the external level of keser, which means long face. Marich af, over there, he extends his anger, meaning he has infinite patience and tolerance, gam l'reshayim, also for the wicked, because it's such a high level, it's keser, and therefore the wicked can receive from there, and he has infinite tolerance. As it says in another discourse. Ach, however, Paroi, even though, yes, Paroi is Klipa, and the Klipas do receive from this very, very high level of Keser, of Arich Anpin, where it makes no difference there whether you're good or bad. However, take the word Paroi, the evil, wicked King Pharaoh, and look at those letters. Ois Yois Ha'oiref. It's the exact same letters, just backwards, of Ha'oiref, which means the back of the neck. The stubborn, stiff back of the neck. Shashpazoi, meaning that this flow of godly energy to Paroi, to all of the wicked, Ba'a comes May Arich Anpin. It's coming, yes, it's a high level, it's his infinite tolerance, but it's the back of the neck, dafka, specifically from the back, as opposed to the front or the face, or where there's the countenance and the smile, etc. Or as he's going to get into, the idea of the eyes. Nope, it's from the back of the neck. Like we said, throwing over the shoulder. So yes, they're receiving from a very, very high place, and they get an abundance, but it's not direct from the face. The gammon also, it also comes in a way of hidden and concealed. Like the idea of the smashing of the vessels. So of course it's from a very high level called the world of Tayu, but the vessels were smashed. As explained on this verse that Paroi sent. Aval, however, Kedei, in order, Sheyumshach bevchinas pnimis, in order for it to come down in an internal way from its true will, whereas the verse says, Ya'ir Hashem panav, that Hashem will illuminate his countenance. Zehu, this is specifically al yedei atzimtzum, exclusively and specifically through the filter of the contraction. Lislabesh b'chachma v'bina, the acronym b'chachma uvina. It is specifically that it comes through a tzimtzum, and then it's enclosed in the highest levels, the levels of the divine intellect. And chachma is the first level, basically after the tzimtzum. So even though Keser is so high, but to receive from there, it comes through the concealment and the contraction, and now it's enclosed in the levels of Chachma and Bina. V'zeu kishoimer v'yaro l'kimisar kitoi v'yoimer shechafetz b'maaseh tzadikim. And this is the meaning. Now getting back to the Midrash. The Tzemach Tzedek is taking this little Midrash and he's quoting it and then explaining a whole lot. So now he's going back to the Midrash. And what does it say there? After it introduces Toihu is the deeds of the wicked, and Oir, light, is the deeds of the righteous. And the Medrash says, I don't know which one Hashem really wants and desires. So then the Medrash concludes, because there's a third verse that says that Hashem saw the light, ki toiv, that's good. So behold, now I'm going to say that he really wants the deeds of the righteous. Peirush, that's the end of the Medrash. Explains the Tzemach Tzedek. Peirush vayar, what does it mean that Elohim saw? Ha-chachma. Vayar is the level of chachma, which we said comes after the filter, after the contraction. hu bechinas re'iyah, because vision, seeing, is associated with chachma. The level of chachma, that's where a person can see. Then he tells us, sends us to another discourse where it explains the idea of what the verse says. Hashem look from heaven, urei, and see. V'zeu einei Hashem el tzadikim. And this is the idea that the eyes of Hashem are to the righteous. Meaning, it's from his eyes, his pnimius, or as the expression goes, that the eyes are the window to the soul. So even by a person, you can tell so much from their eyes.
It's an internal organ.
Right. And it's part of the face, though. So in the panim, which is face, which is pnimius, you look into the eyes, and then that gives you, that's the window into, as you say, the internal part of the person. Bechinas einei, this aspect, this level, this idea of einei, Hashem's eyes, hu pnimius, that is internal. Because the place where a person can actually see and he views, al derech mashal, allegorically speaking, sham ikar pnimius, that's the main place of the internal. And therefore, once you're talking about Hashem's eyes, allegorically, then the verse says it's to the righteous. Once you're talking about eyes, then it's tzaddikim, and it's not the rishayim. I think we'll stop here.
Yeah. I'll make a little tick here. Thank you, Rabbi Turen. I appreciate it.
Sorry about all
that. You don't have to apologize. It happens. Thank you so much, and I look forward to your class tomorrow.
Mirz Hashem. Okay, take care.
Take care, be well.